Hi, everyone. I'm Kimberly Ann. I'm the CEO and president of Lahontan Gold Corp. Thanks for being here, guys, today. This is a new story to the market. We went public this year, April 13th. Best time to go public in this space right now. But the good news for everyone is that we are in a perfect jurisdiction in Nevada, Walker Lane, Tier 1 jurisdiction, multi-million ounce gold and silver potential in this district. We have a fantastic management and a team on the ground that's been working with us for a long, long time. We're adjacent to Isabella Pearl. We call this the Darling Project, owned by Fortitude Gold. They're mining 2-3 gram rock at $700 cash cost, so certainly something to aspire to for us. Here's the location where we are. We're in the Walker Lane, as I said. Next door to our Santa Fe asset, our flagship project, is Hawthorne. It's about 30 minutes away from all of our Santa Fe asset. Hawthorne is a small town where we have a warehouse full of the core from past producer, as well as our team and production group. Moho and Redlich are two other assets that we have that are about 20 minutes down the road. So we have road access, power, you name it. It's a perfect jurisdiction to be in. The Santa Fe asset was mined in 1988 to 1992 by Corona Gold, 375,000 ounces of gold and 710,000 ounces of silver, 1.1 grams gold, 70% recoveries of gold, 30% silver. You know, these were good numbers for this timeline. It wasn't, specially treated, et cetera. But this was during a time of $350, $400 gold. So it was a challenging market, but certainly they did a great job at mining a pretty excessive amount. The Moho asset is a really special asset to us because it's never been the public space. It's never been in a mining company until our private company that I have with my business partner, KA Gold. It was owned by a couple that wouldn't allow any mining to be happening there. But however, before they owned it in 1930s, they had production from lessors of 25 grams gold, 300 silver. So fantastic numbers, high-grade veins in the Walker Lane that had never been a mining company. And for us to have it in our hands, it's a hat trick in itself. The Redlich Project is a silver asset that is next door to the Candelaria open pit that was mined for 30 years. It's now being actively drilled out by Silver One, so very exciting story going on over there. All three of our assets are on BLM land and are permitted. Here's our land package at the Santa Fe project. It's 19 square kilometers. You'll just notice the Santa Fe, Slab, Calvetta, and York. Those are the 4 historic pits on the project. The Santa Fe pit is the largest of the 4 pits. It's only 90 meters deep, so certainly there's a lot more mineralization under and around these projects, these pits. The Pinnacle target is an area that's really exciting for us. It's a new component of our story that we'll be drilling out mid-next year. It's never seen a drill hole, although it hosts the same Miocene rock formation that our neighbors over at Fortitude Gold has, the Isabella Pearl project. So lots of fun facts coming out of those guys right now. They're drilling right on our border. The BH zone, when we got this asset, we thought was the high-grade feeder to the system. We have learned a lot more since that, but certainly a big component of the story we have. Here's a beautiful picture of the project from our drone. We like to show this because you can see the Santa Fe pit in the background, our Pinnacle target, which we'll be focusing on middle of next year. But the Slab pit, it's really like a mini pit during this time zone. They were just looking for the next shovel to make money during a very hard time in the gold and silver space. So recently, since we went public, we just finished a drill program last week of 4,000 meters, 16 RC holes. This was focused around the Slab and Calvetta pits, very shallow pits. We wanted to start to understand how much oxide is there, because really, when we look at this project, we think, it's not, is it there? It's how much is there, and where is the critical point in our company where we switch over to the pre-fees and start going down the permitting process for this project because we want to fast track this as quickly as we can. So this drill program was designed around that. It was focused on slab in and around the existing pit and then the Calvados fault. You'll just see, we just put out a drill result of 25.9 meters of 2.55 grams and gold, 3.4 silver. This is the north extension, the furthest extension of the hole to date. We own a ton of the property beyond that. It's open, and we're excited to keep going through this zone because what we see is just adding oxide ounces to the story and how big it can be. And I think we all know that with oxide, it's really fun to play with because it's heap leachable and it's easy to work with, and we can all make money off that. This is a cross-section of the slab pit. My team likes to name everything. We call this the mustache zone because you'll see in the pink zone, that's where the historic drilling has been, which is over 200,000 meters drilling, 1,100 drill holes of our historic data. So we have a lot of data to work with this asset. Our 4 core holes here are showing that it goes down extensively, all oxide and in a stacked manner. So I guess the biggest part of the story is on the Calvados fault and slab, we have noticed a significant amount of oxide because keeping in mind that the drilling to date were 80 to 100 meter drill holes because they weren't focused on how far it went down. They were just focused on making money. So we put out a press release last week of 47 meters of 0.78 grams oxide in this zone that you'll just see in the pink area there. It's at the bottom of what the historic information was. And this is important to us because it's adding ounces, and it's what the historic data shows us with the production of 88 to 92. So our phase 1 drill program we did end of last year before we were going public, we really thought, as I said earlier, that the BH zone was the most important part of the zone of feeding to the system. Well, then we got very surprised by our Calvados fault coming into the Santa Fe area, and we found 2 more very exciting high-grade zones, the Bighorn and Bonanza. Bonanza had visible gold, 99.07 grams gold. That got our attention. But what we started to put together was not only do we have all this envelope of oxide to play with, but if we thought about production's part of the story, you'd be making a super pit and then drifting from the pit into these big zones. So this is a really important part of the story that can't be ignored. One of our biggest goals is to have in January of Q1 next year, putting our main resource in the project, and it'll be a 2-prong story of telling the oxide story and the sulfide story so people understand how this could play out in a timely manner. I love this picture. My guys are so good at their graphics. This beautiful red envelope is the historic data we have to date. All these drill holes are showing that we did twin some holes so we could verify the information so we could use it in our resource report. But you see the BH, Bighorn, and Bonanza jumping out below these zones, and the potential here is just mind-blowing. And then back to the shallow oxide at Santa Fe pit. We still have shallow oxide on the surface, and it's still showing 35 meters of 1 gram rock that is exactly what they mined back in 88 to 92. So this project, the moral of this story is every time we drill a hole, we're finding more mineralization, and really a surprise of what this project and the potential could be. Our second favorite asset is Moho because it has never been in the public domain, a high-grade gold and silver in the Walker Lane. A lot of the CEOs in this industry that I've worked with in the past are like, how did you guys get your hands on this? That's such a long story I can't tell you about, but we're finding fantastic results here. We did a drill program back in 2018 in my private company and hit fantastic grades that matched what we saw underground. You can walk 2,500 meters underground and see what the old timers did. We've since gone back, mapped and sampled this project, and since we've gotten this, we've extended the land package by fourfold. So we have a lot of work to do there. And while we're waiting for results, we'll be focusing on doing more on the ground work. Here we are today. As you guys know, the market has been extremely challenging for all of us. But on the ground, we've been doing fantastic work. We're about a $14 million market cap company. We have about $2 million in the bank right now. We just finished with our drill rig, so we'll be focusing on getting the rest of our results out, getting our main resource out in Q1, and focusing on telling more news on our Moho asset. Our ticker is LG on the V. We're also on the OTCQB if you guys are American people that like to play on that exchange. But we're really excited to be focused on getting out there, telling the story. I can't think of a better place to have great assets but in Nevada. Thank you.